Video that I'm going to make showing you how to prepare vegetables. And all this is kind of difficult because you always think about having a kitchen and all these things. So what you got to do is first prepare a place to do this, which could be very difficult in certain locations. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this has got a tablecloth on it, right? That's a very big problem, especially for the beets. I'm going to do beets, lettuce, and cabbage. Okay, so what I'm going to do to start out is I'm going to take the tablecloth off of this place and remove it so that I don't stain the table. I have the smallest backpack possible now because of medical reasons, and now I'm very healthy, but when I first left I was kind of unhealthy. So I bought these vegetables, and I normally don't buy 3 types of vegetables a day. Okay, that's a lot for me. I usually buy like 1 or 2, and then I eat them raw. I eat almost all my vegetables raw. Here's lettuce. Here's a beet. This beet was funny because it's kind of expensive. And then cabbage. The cabbage I also consider very expensive. But so how do you eat these vegetables when you're traveling? Some countries like Guatemala, Colombia or something, you can just ask them to prepare them inside the market, which is, in a lot of ways the better way to do it. I could take these over to Yawa and have her prepare them, except I really want you to know how to do this anywhere and everywhere. So when I arrived here, I got some dates, but I'm not going to prepare those. But let's see, let's show you how I prepare cabbage first. So every cabbage, you have the bottom of the cabbage. Now, I've been theorizing on this for years, but is the inside of the cabbage clean? I declare it clean because when I cut it open, it's clean. But you can see that right here is a cabbage, and what I will not eat a whole cabbage because the fiber in the cabbage will really eat it. So I eat it in 3 different stages normally. But I put it on the table, and I take, let's see if I can show you. And I'm going to cut off just a sleeve of this. And I can do 3 of these. So I could have 3 helpings of cabbage just by cutting off the thing. Now I bought this knife. They normally cost me about $1. So I cut off a piece. I shave off just one edge of the cabbage. And I can do this 3 times, right? And if I had a refrigerator, I could eat about the whole thing. But then I take and I peel off the first layer because that's the exposed layer to the world, right? And then I eat it raw. And I highly recommend you eat raw. And I highly recommend you don't get too fussy on the germs because it's a prebiotic or probiotic. You want fiber to feed the probiotics, but by getting these germs, you're inoculating yourself against other diseases. So that's how I prepare cabbage. Now, I will not eat this part again. If I was going to do it, I'm going to shave off all the exposed areas. So what I'm doing is cutting off the exposed area. Now, when you buy a knife, you got to think about it being long enough to, sometimes I cut them off and make them real short this way, but make them long this way. The most complicated thing to cut up is a pineapple. And you want it big enough to cut across the pineapple. The little ones, like a Swiss knife, is worthless. Okay, so now I got a beet. Now the beet is actually the first beet that I do it. But you can see that there's all this exposed area all over the place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to the, I don't know what to call it, the heart of the beet, and I'm only going to eat what is not touching I'm not going to touch anything that's exposed to the air. So I can take this beet and I can cut it up. I'll try to show you. I'll cut off. So I cut off the part. Now you see that part there is not exposed to the air. So I can cut the other side. Now I've got both sides. Then I've got, if I cut it on the end, now I've got three sides showed. I'm going to cut where the, what do you want to call it, the sprout is, or the, I'm going to waste a lot of beet. So now I've got four sides exposed. I only got two more. And now all you have is a chunk of beet that has never been exposed to the air. And that's the same thing, same principle as the cabbage. The cabbage, I'm eating the area that is not exposed to the air. Now, this is a pretty good sized piece of beet. So what I'll do is I'll make it into little slices. And I have to eat this almost immediately because it's quite a, vegetables and everything, especially when you cook them, it removes the thing. There's all foodies, like in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, there's a bunch of foodies which talk about raw food. So beets raw, to me, are pretty good. Cabbage raw, kind of boring, but healthy for you. And it's definitely going to keep you, cabbage will keep you from having constipation. I don't know why. The fiber is a lot less than a coconut, but something about cabbage added to your food. So in a way, I think of cabbage as diet food. Okay, so I'm going to delay the eating of the rest of that because I can show you that I just cut up 3 or 4 slices of beets. I have 4 slices, which is quite a bit. Now, when I buy lettuce, it's a little more complicated because it really wilts really fast. I mean, this has got a shelf life of, I don't know, in normal temperatures, it's less than 4 hours in a way. So I try to buy it. Normally they bring it right straight from the market, and then they wash it off and whatever. Now, in the past, I used to dip it in chlorine water, but I decided that was more dangerous than the germs that are on the cabbage. So when I buy lettuce, I really just twist off the bottom, then I eat it in bites. If you bought the wrong lettuce, you're going to taste dirt. Contrary to what you think, there is no way to avoid drinking the water. You're going to always have micro amounts of water. They don't clean out vegetables or food with purified water or hot water. So, cabbage. I'll go through this again. Okay. So the cabbage, I'm slicing off in 3 sections. The whole goal of this is that you're eating the interior of the vegetables. You're not trying to eat the outward exposed to the air part, and you're eating it raw. very fast to do. And if you're going to travel the world, one of the biggest things that you'll find is that they have a lot of potatoes and they have a lot of chips and things like that. But vegetables are, in short, they're not served up in restaurants. So you really have to focus on the vegetables. So I make a trip to the market every day of the week. There's really no fridges right here in where I'm at in Togo, West Africa. For most of the world, they don't have the fridges. And I'm buying them fresh. They basically harvest them they grow them alongside the river. They bring them to the market that day. And you could probably say that buying them about 9:30 in the morning is the most beneficial time because it's the freshest. And you're trying to eat this fresh every day. And as a rule of thumb, if you are going to eat any carbohydrates, you should eat them after you eat your fiber. So eat your fiber first, and it'll lower the glucose rush or the glucose, carbohydrate, insulin rush you have. It decreases it. The glucose goddess talks about this a lot. Peter Attia talks about it. But you want to always eat fiber before you eat the almost any other food because it's a prebiotic, not a probiotic, but a prebiotic. The fiber is what feeds all the microbiome to help you digest things. So loading up your body with fiber is the best thing. As a rule of thumb, anything that doesn't have fiber in it is probably processed food or something. If it doesn't have obvious fiber or it doesn't look like a cabbage that looks like a food, is whole food. If it looks like a beet, it's beet. If it doesn't look like it originally did in nature, you're probably eating something bad for you. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? You can always become a Patreon if you want to talk to me on a regular basis. The links are always in the description. So I have too many vegetables.